I think how I found you was you did a video on homeschooling boys. We're told that a lot in certain aspects of our society where it's like there's no differences, girls can do what boys can do it, vice versa, no differences. So would you mind just sharing with me and my listeners a little bit about like what your recommendations are for boys?
I think if you are a parent and you have a boy and a girl, it's just very obvious.
So different.
They're so different without you having to say or do anything. So that was never a question in my mind. We had two boys first, and it just seemed like a lot. Like they're just bouncing off the walls. They're just so active. And then we had our daughter, and she would it was the first time we had coloring in our house.
Yeah.
The boys no interest in coloring at all. And here our daughter would sit and just color. It was just kind of such a shock for us. And I do think it's just so much easier for us to teach our daughters because we are women and we're very similar in many ways. But boys are so physical and they need movement. So with our boys, I gave them a lot of frequent breaks, but yet balance that with when it's time to do work. I'm not going to make it easy on them. And sometimes for, I think particularly of one of our kids right now, who's a boy, he has a hard time with all the noise and the distractions. So just knowing when do I need to have my kids close around me and when do I need to have this particular child maybe go into a bedroom or a room and just work quietly at a desk where there's nothing to distract him. And then when that lesson's over, keep lessons short for boys. It doesn't mean they're not doing a lot, but you're doing something for 15 to 20 minutes maybe, and then moving on to the next thing. When that lesson's done, give them a break and let them move on to the next. I read a lot to our kids, and so usually they start having an interest in wanting to learn to read because it's a mysterious thing that everybody else can do, that they can't unlock that knowledge and they want it. So, but when it comes to reading lessons, I remember with our oldest, he didn't want to do it because it was hard work. And so, I understand that you don't want to do this, but there are some things that you have to do. And 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day of this reading lesson is not too much to require of you. So while we don't want to have the same expectations for our boys as far as, girls can naturally sit longer and they enjoy that. Boys need physical action, but we also can require them to do what's expected of them. And I think they do well with boundaries, knowing that the boundaries are always the same. This is what's expected. And if you can't do that, this consequence will always be the same as well. So, and as our boys got older, it is different like with young ones, but as our boys got older, it is so, so important to find as many male role models as you can because teenage boys need to be with men. I know a lot of moms will send their son to work with their husband at least 1 or 2 days a week as they hit some of those older years like 12, 10, even 10, 12, 14. That wasn't an option for us, but we tried to find as many coaches and men in our church. We had them, as soon as they were able to, we had them get a job somewhere where there was some good male influence because that just makes the biggest difference. One of the best things that ever happened to our sons, our two oldest sons, the oldest is graduated, the second is graduating this year. They got a job with a contracting company and they were going with a crew of men every day to a work site during the summer when they could work 5 days a week. During the school year, they only did 1 or 2. It was the best thing because they're with grown men all day. And we knew these men, they were a good influence. So that's something to be, to look into. But boys need to be around men. It doesn't mean that you can't homeschool them. Homeschooling doesn't just mean mom is teaching everything. It means that you have the freedom to decide who's teaching it, what's being taught, what worldview you want to teach it from. So that was one of the best things that we did for our boys.
Well, in this whole this whole time we've been chatting, I just hear intentionality, more intentionality, more intentionality. Like the fact that you intentionally sought out older men for them to be around is really cool. And I think it's a helpful balance to, I do think it is easy to be extreme and say, well, they just need to be in school all day. Because I have seen that where homeschool moms get fed up and they're like, I'm done. Like, we're sending him to school. You know, or the alternative where it's like the son is accountable to the mom for every single thing. But I like what you're saying. The main point of homeschooling is giving them, you know, a Christ-centered education, but also it is customizable. And so I love that you chose to do that, where you said, okay, we're going to involve them with this male role model in this way, or this teacher. I just think that's valuable. I don't know if was it you? I think it was, where you said your son would even get up and go play basketball with like a group of guys or something like that.
Yeah, people always wonder, are my kids going to miss out if they're homeschooled? But I feel like whatever they miss out on, there's something else that they get that replaces it that they wouldn't have had if they were in school. So yeah, every Friday, my husband, before work, he gets up early and goes and plays basketball with a group of men. And all of our boys go, down to our 10-year-old boy. And soon our 8-year-old boy is going to go. And he's playing, our 10-year-old is actually playing with the men. And our 18-year-old son is also going. So that's something they've had with their dad over all these years. And that's because they're available. And so, yeah, coaches, we looked for coaches. Our teenagers go to a drop-off co-op, and I always tried for our boys to have some male teachers. We have some wonderful men in our church who've invested in them. Just little things like even just going up to them in church and talking to them or taking them out for coffee. It's just your son's hearing from other godly Christian men. It is just so good for them.
I could talk to you for like another 2 hours. I have so many questions to ask, but I know we are limited on time.